Hello and welcome. I am April Frazier, confidence coach, founder of Forward Confidence Coaching. I'm here today talking with Nikki Fagan, branding powerhouse, founder of the Brand Lion, mother, chief, leader, Bermudian, and she just told me DJ and framework maven. And we are talking today about her journey. And this series is called Women Who Face Forward. Nikki is definitely one of those people. Nikki, welcome.
Thank you, April. I'm so excited to be here. What we about to get into? What we about to get
Girl, it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit. Do we have so all these titles I covered? Is there anything else we need to throw in here?
um, I like to call myself future castle dweller as well.
Oh, oh, we're definitely gonna talk about the castle. Yeah, let me just put that down. Future castle dweller.
Small technicalities,
No, I love it. And if anyone saw, I sent it to my email list. If you're in here and you've seen the castle, or if you want to see the castle, just drop us a comment. We'll send it to you later on the replay. The castle is pretty epic, and I love it for sure.
I don't know who this second Nikki is now. I thought I got everyone out.
It's okay. We'll just keep going, and we'll see what happens. So, how long have you been in business?
This time around, I have been in business for, I'm going on year 6 now. This is my 6th year.
6 year.
Mhm.
Okay. So I want to hear all about this journey because last year, let's back up from it because last year was a game changer for a lot of people for a lot
Yeah,
of reasons.
yeah,
But what was last year like for you? Pandemic, you had some business shifts.
yeah. So last year was a it was just a shit show, really. So last year, I had gotten to the point where I was ready to just blow my business up. I was over it. I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go pump gas at a gas station. I'm gonna go be a cashier somewhere. I'm gonna go do something else other than do this because I hate it. I don't feel connected to it. It certainly is in my zone of excellence to do branding and design, but the way that I was doing it was it just had gotten to the point of beyond being sustainable. And I didn't know why. And so when the pandemic hit, it stopped business from coming in for me. And so how I do business is I bid on an RFP, I get the job, and then that's my project work. And then my other work is that um, I do retainer work. And so I would manage a client's entire marketing, branding, services needs for an elongated period of time. And so when the pandemic hit, people were like, I'm pulling back. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to do a little bit of marketing. I'm not going to do all the marketing. And I just was at the point where I was like, I'm not letting people determine how much money I make every month. Um, and it just wasn't sustainable. And then on top of that, George Floyd was murdered in the streets. And I don't know, it just was the perfect storm for me to blow up an entire business. And so that's where we ended up last year.
What I love about you in our conversations is just your fire, your energy you bring is like blow it up. And I'm thinking,
That's it.
even as you say it, I'm like, Nikki, wait a minute, that sounds scary. Like you blow it up. Did you?
I did. I blew it up. I I got to the point where every month it was harder and harder to show up during the pandemic. And that was tough for anybody anyway during the pandemic. I mean, unless we were live during the Spanish flu, none of us have been through this, right? So there was a whole bunch of like moving goalposts. And so it was a perfect time for me to be like, well, how much lower can it go, really? Just how much lower can it go? And I had these little seeds being dropped in my orbit for a while that was pushing me towards where I'm at now. Um, the one that really stands out to me was I had a girlfriend who she was at my office. She's a friend and a client, and she was at my office and she was talking. We were having a conversation about building businesses authentically. and really picking who you want to work with versus the other way around. And I thought I had been doing that. I really thought I had been choosing the clients that I wanted. But the fact that I was at that point of complete overwhelm, I was not choosing the clients that I wanted. And so that conversation with her kind of sat there. And then that just added to like the seeds that have been being dropped for a while.
Yeah. That overwhelm is one thing that when female entrepreneurs, and I guess perhaps entrepreneurs at large, but specifically you and I work with women. Overwhelm is one of those things. We're doing it all the time, and I think it's interesting that you're speaking to, yeah, but you were doing the work, but you weren't doing the work with the clients that you wanted.
Right.
What happened? How did you make a shift?
Well, the shift happened. I just started digging back. So what happened was I had seen a coach, an online coach online, who she had made a statement about George Floyd. And this statement, it really struck me to the core, not because the statement was new, but because she made the statement of honesty, and it was raw and all of that. And she didn't intend for it to go viral, but it went viral. She made this statement, and I was looking at her like, oh my God, how is she making this statement? Does she not know she's gonna alienate her audience? Does she not know that she's not gonna, you can't do that? What? You can't take a position so aggressively and upfront, and wow. But then I watched her community grow and flourish around her making a very honest statement. And I was like, yeah, it's mask off, it's time. And so that perfect storm for me was the perfect trigger into, and I like to call it that. That's what happened. I took the mask off, and I had become a pro at balancing the mask, right? I had become a pro at this occasion requires this mask, and this occasion requires this mask. And sometimes the mask can have a little sequence on it, but it still requires a mask. And so I had like developed this kind of flow for masks, but it was always a mask. And so watching this coach move through the space maskless, and watching the amount of people that were attracted to her, that really just gave me the final kick in the butt to be like, yeah, that's it. We're done. We're going to show up. And then my first post on social media that was kind of evidence of it, you could see, if you go to my social media, you could see, I said, the world blew the fuck up. And that was my post. And that was the start. I think that was July. That was the start of not only the world blowing up, but me blowing up. And if you watch the post, you'll see kind of my evolution and my unmasking kind of happen before you.
What was that like to take the mask off?
It was scary. It was scary because, I went from being a very, very, very lovely British colony young lady, and I was respectful, and I was very, very separate from my personal point of view, and business was business and pleasure was pleasure, and I was doing all the right things, and I was rewarded handsomely for it financially. But it felt freeing as hell. I was like, what's gonna be is gonna be. I'm not doing this no more. I am not showing up at work as one place and showing up at home as another. It's exhausting. I'm not doing it. This is dumb. Why would I ever do it?
Yeah. Unifying your identity with your brand. Now that's a scary place for women to play. Like, I am my brand. Like, you are as branding powerhouse, and you help other women, right? You create things, and you help them authentically align. And that is one challenge that female entrepreneurs have is, can I be my business? Can I be my own face and like be me? Can I get paid to be me?
Yeah.
What would you say? Can they get paid? Can people get paid to be them?
What I'm finding is that, and so as I rebuild the business, I'm rebuilding the business very slowly. I haven't actually announced my new services or my new brand. That's going to happen over the next month or two. But what I'm finding is that as soon as I made the declaration, as soon as I said, this is what I want to do and this is what I don't want to do, the business just came. The business just came. I put that vibe out into the universe. The universe was like, oh, okay, well, why you didn't say so, sis? All right, there you go. There you go.
I love it because one thing I help women with is the alignment. Like when you align to your stuff, align to authentically who you are, you'd be surprised how you attract and magnetize in exactly what you're looking for. But it's a scary place to be. And I remember you and I talking that you created a product and you were like, I didn't even really market it. I was just like, let me test this out. Let me just put something out there, see what it was like. And then tell me a little bit about that. What happened?
So I was treading in the shallow end of the pool, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna stick a toe in. So I created this program, and I was like, well, let's just see what happens. And so my first client, they called me for my regular services, and I was like, here's the thing, I don't do those services like that anymore. Here's how I do them. And then I told them the program. They were like, okay, let's do that then, right? And that was more money than they would have initially come to me for. And I wasn't scared to lose them if they said no. And so moving with that surety, moving with the idea of if they say no, they're not for me, but I'm not going to compromise on this, that made a difference. And so that was my first client. And then I'm up to like client on a service I'm not selling. I think I'm up to like client 16 or 17 now, right?
On a service you're not selling.
On the service I'm not selling. Yeah. So, I just did it. I just moved forward instead of getting stuck in the what ifs, instead of getting stuck in the this might not work, instead of getting stuck of, girl, who are you to be doing this? None of that. I just moved. Right? And so each person I taught, each person gave me more confidence, but in addition, they gave me more insight to how I could tweak this and tweak that. And so here I am, 16, 17 people later on a program I'm not selling.
That sounds awesome. I mean, who doesn't want to get paid to do what they love and you're not even selling it? That's the hardest part sometimes. It's like, I got to market the thing. No, actually, maybe you don't.
Maybe you don't. I've not run a Facebook ad. I've not run a Google ad yet because, I'm not officially selling. And that might be good for my psyche as well, because the idea of selling in a kind of like aggressive bro marketing type of way, that does not gel with who I am.
Yeah.
Like I am a relator. I do awesome one-on-one relationships. That's my jam.
Yeah. You and I are alike in that way. We met in a group where it's all about making money, and part of it is the webinar. You get the webinar, you get the funnel. I just fell into someone's funnel about making a funnel, and I had to pull myself out like, wait, I don't want a funnel because I want the one-on-one contact. It's not that I can't. It doesn't energize me. And why am I doing stuff I don't like?
Right.
Why? No.
And I used to do stuff I didn't like. I used to do stuff that didn't align with my strengths. I used to do stuff that, I was still ethical in how I did business, but certainly I was doing stuff that was not in my full expertise. And so, it was not rewarding for my soul in any way. I just was trying to do too much.
Oh, can you say it again?
Way too much. Way too much.
Let's talk about your dream.
Yeah.
What do you dream?
Well, I believe in, and a few people on the call have been in my sessions, I do believe in big, dirty, stinking, audacious goals.
Yes.
I will not dream small on this other half of 40. I will not dream small. No, ma'am, I will not. So, one of my dreams is that I would love to live in a castle. Black girl in a castle, black girl in a castle. Right. So I would love to live in a castle.
Sound like a song.
You understand? I might get a theme song for that too.
Yes, please. I want that.
I want to live in a castle, and and it really represents freedom to me, and legacy, and dreaming big, and the reality of dreaming big. So that is one of my biggest goals.
I've seen this castle. It is big, audacious. Love it with a.
Okay.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Anything else that you're dreaming of? This castle?
Yeah. So the other thing that I am dreaming of is contentment, and I know that may not sound like a huge dream, but it is a huge dream for me, because what I did in my reflection last year was really understanding the fact that there was very few moments of contentment in my life. And I really am a put your head down type of person and just go full steam ahead. And contentment was something that I finally, very recently, have acknowledged as being important to me. And it is a big, dirty, stinking dream. And so it's a dream that I actively work on every day to achieve. But I do acknowledge that it is a journey, right?
No, I appreciate you saying that, because we can be in the go, 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 get it done, slay, 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 do more, do more, do more, do more. And contentment can slide out of that cadence. You can't, there's no time to be content, because you just have to do something else. So I appreciate you saying that. And it's something that, entrepreneurs and I feel like women especially, because we are servers, we are nurturers, we have so much, and our businesses become our babies that of sorts that it's hard for us to align to the intrinsic value of why we started, right? Get lost in the journey, and aligning to that intrinsic value is so important. So thank you for saying that. I think people need to hear that as well. So you and I met, and I was offering some coaching just to help people to see the power of coaching, and then we decided to work together. What made you invest in coaching?
So I had been on an investment in me phase from the point of George Floyd's murder. So from that point, I had gotten into a rhythm of understanding that I'm going to need some work here. And it was not going to be me alone that was going to be able to help me to pull the tools out that I already have and make me aware of new tools. It was not going to be me to do that, because I had gotten to the point that I had gotten, and it felt like a dead end. So I needed support. I needed help. One of the biggest revelations for me with you was around support and what support looked like. And the fact that the support that I thrive best in is one-on-one support. That's what I thrive in. The group support, it is good for very specific things, but I don't feel supported in it. And I can go to, and I mean, I even see that in some of the classes that I'm still in, the runoff classes that I'm still in. When I have to get into a group setting, I'm not the person that is going to stay fixated on the speaker. I'm not the person that's going to walk away and quietly do the work by myself. And so coaching was really, really important to me, one-on-one support. And I didn't know why the other coaching wasn't working. until we work through that and really identify what true support looks like for me. And so what I started to do is to notice that in my family relationships, in my friend relationships, it everything began around me to reveal why certain things felt good and why certain things were just like, meh.
Yeah. And what do you feel is the result of working together?
Oh my goodness. Well, okay. Lord have mercy. Okay, so one of the things certainly is around support. One of the things is my emerging leadership style, and what I want that to look like. And really taking a look at what it used to look like, because I was very much not intentional with my leadership style before. I am naturally a leader, and so I naturally led, but it was certainly not with strategy, right? Because it just was instinct. And certainly there is some strategy within instinct, but it was not as strategic as it needed to be. And so one of the biggest takeaways that I got with working with you was around my leadership style, which was super, super important. Um, Again, I'm giving people the wrong way.
Okay.
Again.
Fine. Hello and welcome.
So that was one of the biggest things to emerge, was like my leadership style and what I wanted that to continue to be. And if I wanted to bring in what the leadership style that I had that had taken me this far, if I wanted to still include that moving forward.
Gotcha. All right. And what other resources? Here you are, you're CEO, CFO, CTO, all the things. You lead a team, you have support. What other resources do you invest in and engage, and with what results?
Accountability groups is a huge one for me. I did not realize how much those things change and evolve in each stage, and how much they need to change and evolve in each stage. And so accountability is something that was thankfully what naturally came from being in the group that you and I started in together. That naturally happened. I mean, it's a whole emergency behind me. If you hear.
I can hear it. No worries.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm living in NYC. But anyway, like accountability was a huge one for me. And just having, because when oftentimes when you are on top, who else is on top of you? And so there is no one. You are your own directive, right? Like if you don't say to get it done, then nobody else is going to tell you to get it done either. And so you can get so caught up in managing your schedule, your home and work schedule, managing other people's schedule. Who's helping you? Who's doing that? So that was a huge one for me as well. Is accountability group.
Yeah. And now, what you work from? What are your work hours? What's your life like?
So now I work between, not always firm, but between 10 to 3, I work. 3 o'clock is my cutoff. My daughter gets home at about 3:15. Sometimes I'll take it up to like 3:12. But between 10 and 3 are generally my working hours. Monday is not typically a work day for me. Monday is a working on the business day. Fridays are not typically a work day for me. Fridays are marketing days. So typically between, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm working between 10 to 3.
And you recently brought your workout back online. How's that working out?
So it's good. It was great. So I'm a month into at the gym. However, we've just gone back into shutdown now. So, I mean, somebody don't want me to be skinny. It's fine. It's fine. What we gonna do?
Well, no, but the idea of like you've started to prioritize you, right? Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you that I think that's really key for people to see, is that it's the prioritization. Once you started to get that right support and actually reduce your hours, 10 to 3, this is it. Then I'm going to make time for my daughter. I'm also going to get that workout, right? And so pandemic being what it is, it's the idea that there's that specialization for you. And I think women often will give up that workout to work more or to serve somebody else. And I know from experience and from the women that I coach that that workout actually helps you in your business. Like your body affects your bottom line straight up.
There are three unmovables: the workout, my coaching, not my coaching, but being coached, me being coached, and my daughter.
I love it.
So
Curiously, your business is not there. That's really
no,
interesting.
no, it'll fit in. It'll fit in around those things, and it'll fit on it in Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
See, that's the kind of power that when I feel like when you're just starting out, you don't have. You don't realize like, no, it'll fit around my life or it's not working. And for you to be in that place right now where you're just like, yeah, no, my daughter, my workout. What was the other thing you said?
My daughter, my workout. How long I said that ago?
I know, I forgot it too.
My daughter is not movable. My workout's not movable, and my coaching.
Coaching, that's right.
Me being coached.
Yeah.
Because that me being coached, in whatever discipline, is my therapy, is my release. So whether it is business coaching or whether it's mindset coaching, it's still edifying me, and I can't negotiate on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm curious about what your biggest challenge is right now. You're talking about something, you got some things on the horizon. What's your biggest challenge coming up or right now?
My biggest challenge coming up, oddly enough, okay, so my biggest challenge is still figuring out this kind of balance of sorts. I don't truly believe in balance. I feel like it moves every day and it's fine, but figuring out this balance, for lack of a better word, right now, between my daughter's time and building the business. That's still something that is, in a state of movement for me. And I'm fine with it being in a state of movement. This is just what it has to do, but it's still something that's ongoing. If I have to, one of the things that's on my journey is that.
Yeah.
Business wise, I am moving from a brick and mortar business to an online business. I am moving from a RFP led business to essentially selling to people that don't know me and I don't know them, and doing it online. So that's still a challenge for me. But as I build my support systems around my lower strengths and the things that I don't either want to do or don't do well, I'm finding that transition to be easier. And I've certainly topped up on experts. I call myself collecting experts. I have collected a bunch of experts to help me with that. I don't know if Atene is still in the call, but Atene is one of the other people who, oh my gosh, she was instrumental in helping me build a system of organization. And that was amazing to me, to be able to put things where they are and be able to pull on things as I need them.
That's beautiful. Yeah. An army of support, huh?
Yeah, like I collect experts all the time.
I love that. I'm gonna take that right. I collect experts. I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna add that. What's your secret sauce? And Atene says, "You're the queen."
I think some of my secret sauce is that I told this story the other day briefly on my live, but when I was about 11 years old, my mom said to me, she was watching, I was in my room playing with my friends, and she must have been watching me at the doorway, and I didn't know she was watching me. After my friends left, my mom said to me, "Nikki, I want you to be conscious of how you speak to people. I want you to be conscious of how you use your words." And so I was like, okay. And so she was like, you have the power to make people do things. You have the power to make people move. And so, I really want to say that, at 11, I had this awareness and this I took that on and I was like, absolutely. Yes, mom, I know what I'm going to do. No, I did not have that level of awareness at 11. However, I say all of that to say part of my secret sauce is innate. Part of my secret sauce is that I am naturally a leader and naturally a person who, if tasked with something, I will get it done. And also, I enjoy interaction with people. So that's part of my secret sauce, even though I wasn't conscious of it. Another part of my secret sauce is that, I am a forever consummate creator. That's what I do. Sometimes my mind doesn't rest at night because all I do is create and think and new ideas and new, what's next. So that's also a part of my secret sauce. I can be a bit exhausting to my team, to be honest, because I will say, what about this? What about this? Right? Like that's part of it. If you work with me, you probably can't be a person that's like, this is my one assignment and I'm going to stick to it and I'm not veering off. That's probably not a good fit for me. Because I'm constantly creating. That creation is like a huge part of who I am.
Yeah. How do you bring that to your business?
Well, before I started doing one thing, I was doing all of the things. And I've had at the same time that I've been running, a full service, award-winning marketing and branding and PR agency. At the same time I did that, I also opened up a talent agency. I also sold vegan ice cream. I also sold plus size clothing. Because sometimes I can't turn me off, and I feel compelled, and there's no one that can rein me in. So that's how that shows up. So, now I'm more specific. And I think part of that exploration has been because I have all of these ideas and I need to get them out. But now I've been more obedient. I hate that word, but more obedient to my truth. And my truth is, I want to help women do the same thing I did, which is unmask, learn how to first tell their story so that they can then monetize their story. And so, no more vegan ice cream.
Got it. I bet it was delicious, though.
It was awesome.
No, but as you were talking, the thing that came up for me, you said it, obey your truth. And I feel like that's what you help women do is obey their truth and step into that authentically. Obey your truth. And it sounds maybe really simple, but
it is.
We have to get rid of a lot of conditioning that comes to us in order to. Christine says the ice cream was so good. Thank you, Christine. I mean, can we get some shipped to the United States? But I think that's, we have to get rid of so much conditioning, right? And this is why perhaps why you collect experts is to help you get rid of some of that conditioning, step in that place of obeying your truth and helping other people to do the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
If I was honest, to be honest, I didn't sell vegan ice cream because one, I was vegan, or two, because I was in love with ice cream. I sold vegan ice cream because I wanted to brand something from start to finish. I wanted to brand a food product from start to finish. And there was no food product available for me to do that. So I said, well, then I will buy my own food product and brand it from start to finish, right? So it still comes back to what I actually wanted to do, which was not selling ice cream. It was about the branding and getting the branding out there and creating a really amazing brand. So even when I go off the path, I'm still on the path.
Yeah. No, I think that's fascinating, actually. I have so many more questions about this ice cream and like FedEx, dry ice. How does it work? That's amazing. What was the brand name? Just out of curiosity.
It was Coca Pita.
Y'all heard it. If she ever reopens, okay, the vegan ice cream, which by the way, I am vegan, so it was packaged in a coconut shell.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it was.
Christine says awesome. If this ice cream ever gets resurrected, okay, I need to be right in quickly, okay, because I am vegan. Um, okay, just a few more questions.
Water too.
What do you
Actually,
say?
what do you think about? I sold aloe water too. Girl, you don't even want to go down the path of what I've done.
Yeah. No. Okay. Sidebar. We might have to have a separate conversation about your creative interest. But I'm glad you bring it up because so many. It's common, right? With like you have so many creative interests. With creatives to contain the creation, it's like what are you gonna focus on though? And what do you love? Leading with what you love and activating your secret sauce and all the things is part of how you individuate and get to a place where you can be in that place of serving. Christine says, "This is me, lol, everything." I feel you, Christine.
Kristen, yeah, okay. I see Tamara has a question too.
Oh yes.
Once you figured out what you didn't want to do, how did you figure out what you wanted to do and move in that direction? So the way that I figured out what I wanted to do was I got very clear about who I was and I went backward. And I went backward, all the way to when I was a little girl. And this is part of the exercise that I do in my program. I went back to when I was a little girl. I went back to when I was a teenager. I went back to a young adult. And I scraped into those memories and who I was and the consistency of who I was. And that's how the 11-year-old memory came back and all of those things. Like I got very, very clear on who I used to be to figure out those consistent components that were still here now. And that's kind of how I focused. And I was like, yo, I help women. Like that's what I do. Like I build friend circles. I bring people together. And I am kick-ass at branding at the same time. Like, okay, I know what I need to do. I don't need to be doing marketing. I don't need to be doing PR. I don't need to sell vegan ice cream. I need to go back to the core of who I was. And when I got there, I've told April before, I did not know that people actually enjoyed going to work. I thought that it was all a facade. I thought that everybody was lying. And I was like, oh my God, why are these people saying that they enjoy work? Like it's impossible that they enjoy work. They hate work because I hate work. So they have to hate work. And so, I would hear people saying, oh, I love my job. I'm like, liar. And then I went through this rebirth and I was like, oh my God, I love my job. And I was like, no, they weren't lying. I was disillusioned. I wasn't here yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Tamara, for the question. I love my job too, Nikki. But I also thought that this was not something I could choose. I was taught you go, you get this solid job, you get this paycheck, you buy a house, you have a family, you work till you're 65, then you get to relax. And I always felt like, Tamara says thank you. I always felt like no, at 16, I remember thinking, oh no, that plan ain't gonna work. I'm not trying to. You don't know if you get to 65, and what is my life supposed to be like for the next? That's a long time to just be doing what everybody else does. And I love that you also said you took it back, because one thing I hear women say a lot of times is like, I don't know. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. I don't know. And I find that that's actually not true. You do, if you go back to who you are at essence, when before all the conditioning, before all the stuff got layered on, you do know. But you might need help to like uncover that person and bring her back, resurrect her. Yeah.
I think my daughter was key in that because my daughter at like, I know everybody thinks their children's amazing, but my daughter at like 6 months, she had her personality. At 1 year, she had her personality. At 5 going 32 now. She has her personality, and her personality is the same, and it's consistent, and it's big, and it's powerful, and it's without conditioning, and without rules, and without structure. It's just amazingly big. And every time I look at this little girl, I'm like, how can I get that back? And that's part of the reason why my process is to go back, because she represents everything that I would love to be, with my freeness, with my, non-patriarchal BS. Like, she represents that because she has none of those things weighing on her, right?
Yeah.
And so she just is. And you talk about just be. She just bees. She just bees all the time. And so that's part of the reason why I take people back, because I look at this little girl and I'm like, if I could just bottle that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're looking at a human that hasn't been conditioned yet, right? Like, and it's a beautiful thing to see because it's so raw and pure. Tennille says, I feel the same way, wanting to be like my daughter when I grow up.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't have kids, but I understand that they are the greatest teachers. They teach you more than you teach them. Yeah.
Far more. Far more. And my child is like having a therapist living with me 24/7 is what she's like.
I love it. You told me some stories and I was just like, okay then. Okay, what advice would you give other entrepreneurs? Specifically women entrepreneurs, because we have some unique challenges. What advice would you give?
The biggest piece of advice that I could give is to decide who you want to be and how you want to show up. So there are some of us that you may not have the struggle that I have. You may not want to blow your business up. You might be like, yeah, it's fine. It's, I'm making money, I'm ticking along, and that's fine, right? But do it intentionally and do it knowing and with focus, versus to just like have your business willy-nilly, like, this might work today. I mean, it's making money, so it's okay. Like, to be really focused and intentional to what is authentic to you. For me, money was, certainly money helps, but money was not the main driver. Because if money was still the main driver, I would still be doing the business that I was doing, because I made my first million doing that business. So money is not the driver. I would not have said I'm giving it all up to go work at the gas station if money were the driver.
Yeah.
So my advice to entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, is to really get real with yourself, right? And that's even for women in corporate, just to get really real with yourself. What is it that I actually want? And it's okay to ask, what is it that you actually want? Like, we are so polite that we don't even ask ourselves. We don't even bother to say, okay, this is what I really want, because society has told us that we either can't want what we want, it's inappropriate to want what we want, other people's wants are more important than our wants. But to just have an honest conversation with yourself and say, listen, what do I want? What do I want out of this business? What type of revenue goal do I really want out of this business? If you want a $10,000 revenue goal for the year, then you work your plan to that. If you want $100,000 revenue goal out of the year, then you work your plan to that. But to be very intentional and not just like let it happen, happenstance.
Thank you. It's powerful. Tennille says, any advice for me wanting to grow my business and eventually leave my 9-to-5?
Absolutely. So a long time ago in Bethlehem, I used to work for other people. And I didn't have the confidence to go off on my own. I always had freelance though, but I didn't have the confidence because I didn't know what that meant. I'd never seen that mirrored. I'd never seen Black women owning their own businesses. So I had no point of reference. So then if I had no point of reference and nothing to compare it to, of course that felt big and scary, right? So for me, when I used to work for other people, I started off very by dipping my toe in. And so I started off with freelance work. So I would be working for someone else and I would be doing freelance work at the same time. The more freelance work started to accumulate, the more confident I got in myself and my abilities to provide an income based on my skill set. And at that point, it wasn't based on my passion, it was based on my skill set, because really it just required a doing at that point. I just had to get used to it.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, so no, I know April's the queen of this part, but for me,
No.
that's how it worked.
No, you're doing great. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just had a hallelujah moment. But please continue. Were you finished?
I just had to do, right? So like, you know, was my first freelance was not aligned around my passion. It was not aligned around who I was as a child. It was not deep like that. I just did it because I had to start somewhere. And so there was no overthinking it. There was no, well, this, has to be perfect. Let me make sure that my stationery and my logo and my website was none of that. There was no logo. I always say when I first started this business 6 years ago, I was sending out invoices on Word documents, okay? They were on Word documents. And so, and my business account and my Netflix account were the same account. Like there was no separation of church and state at that point. I started rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing. And Tennille, this is something that I help women with, because that transition, and Nikki's touched on a bunch of things I do want to piggyback on that. Just do it. We sometimes think we have to be motivated to do it, but actually the doing motivates us. You don't have to have it in that way. The alignment, what you said, just starting. I know I went off and spent a bunch of money on marketing and a website and a branding and a logo. I wanted to look professional, but actually clients don't care about that. They want to know, can you help me? That's their one question. Can you help me get what I want? And if you can answer that question, the business comes. I really also love, Nikki, that you touched on, and it's something too that a lesson I learned is that don't focus on the money. Super hard to teach and to kind of get in alignment with that when you're first starting out, because of course you feel like the money validates that you're doing it and that you have a spot, but actually as it's separate, and focusing on the money only derails you from being able to focus on what you love. And that's what I would add, and just piggyback on what you said, is don't focus on the money, just get in the business of doing. But you also have to align. You got to make sure you love it. Are you able to be authentic about it? And stay out of your own head, because that also trips us up. Lots of, what's it? She says mind trash around the things about being an entrepreneur that really can hold you back. So does that help, Tennille? And if not, you can reach out to Nikki. You already have her contact. You can reach out to me also. Okay, a few more questions. We're running out of time. So much more. Okay, what do you wish you'd known sooner? And you may have touched on that.
What do I wish I knew sooner? Here's what I wish I knew sooner. I wish that, and I only wish I knew it sooner in theory and not in actual, because I have gotten to the point where I know that everything that is on my path is for me, and that everything happens when it's supposed to happen. But in theory, the one thing I wish I knew sooner was the idea of systems and processes. I wish I understood that. I would get frustrated with feeling like I was reinventing the wheel every single time. And certainly I feel like my revenue probably would have been doubled if I would have known this sooner. But systems and processes are super important. It's something that I stress all the time to my clients. As soon as you can systematize and build processes out that will help you to not have to reinvent the wheel all the time, the better off that you will be. There was one other thing that I wish I knew sooner, which is I thought that I was bad with money. I told myself all the time, I'm bad with money. In actuality, based on what the business produced, I was not bad with money. I actually had no relationship with money. I wasn't bad with it. I had no relationship with it. I was, I grew up as a child who was given everything, and so no relationship was formed with it at all. It just was something that I was at the child's table and money was at the big table, like at the adult table at Thanksgiving, right? Like I had no relationship with it, no interaction with it. And so I told myself that that was because I was bad with it. I wasn't bad with it. I just never got close to it. So when I started my business, the first thing I did, one of the biggest investments that I made in my business was to hire an accounting firm right off the bat. So someone who's bad with money would not have had that insight. So talking to myself in that way is something that I wish I would have done differently early on.
Oh, I love it. So good, because the relationship with money, we can have a whole sidebar about that, right? Because all the stuff, and you don't even realize going back that it's from your childhood. It's what you learned at home. It's what you saw. You bring that stuff in without realizing you're bringing it in, and then trying to
Yep.
craft this new life with the old paradigm. And we avoid it. We overspend it. We're stingy with it when we need to invest. Like, it's all the things that could keep us from going faster. And I'm so happy that you brought that up. All right. One last question, and we'll talk about where people can find you. Biggest lesson in business, biggest lesson in life. You may have touched on business already, but also in life, if there's something you would want to add.
Biggest lesson in business is to build a brand um, based on who you are and who you want to show up as first. That was my biggest lesson in business. Biggest lesson in life um, also overlaps with business, but my biggest lesson so far is about boundaries and how important they are. Um, so I got really really caught up in how society has told me I should be, and so what it did was put me into a space where I didn't trust my decisions fully. And so boundaries, I did most of this work with April. Boundaries really, really, and resetting my boundaries, knowing my boundaries, really, really helped me to get to a place where I really feel like, I just, like I said, I'm on this born again journey, and so like I feel like a whole new person in being able to push back when things feel uncomfortable, saying what my do's and don'ts are, even before I get to a place of discomfort, just coming to the table with like, here's how it's going to be on my end. How's it going to be on your end? No, doesn't work. Okay, no worries. I wish you well.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
those are my two biggest.
Biggest lessons. Thank
Yeah.
you. It's funny. I was just coaching a client yesterday, and we were talking about her service level agreement. And it's like that's part of that is boundaries. Here's what you're allowed to do. Here's what you're not allowed to do. Here's when you can here's what you can expect from me. Here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm not gonna do. So thank you for sharing. Okay. Anything else you can think of? Anything unfinished? An audience, if you are, if this is your last chance for questions before we release Nikki. Anything else you can think of you just want to share with the group?
I am beyond encouraged right now at the amount of women business owners. It is magical to see us just kind of reclaim our time really and not take a back seat and follow our passions, follow the things that we really want to do. We're getting really brave and we're like, you know what, this may or may not work, but I'm going to try it. So I'm really excited to see that unfold. And certainly with the economy, and even though I'm in Bermuda, with the economy as it is what it is in many places, entrepreneurs are certainly leading the way when it comes to um, rejuvenating our economy. So I'm really, really proud of that and excited about that. Um, and I just encourage you, whether you are starting your own business or you are in corporate and you work for someone else, in or outside of corporate, if you work for someone else, it is possible there as well to really establish who you are, who you want to show up as in that space, and to move in that direction and not have to put your mask on all the time and not have to show up as a different person every time. That's exhausting. I mean, certainly after you hit 40, that's exhausting. I can't imagine.
Yes.
That is exhausting. So
Yes.
trying to be as authentic as possible, no matter what space that you're in, no matter what space you're working from, be as authentic as possible and know that you are enough. You exactly as you are enough, and you can show up as whoever you want to show up as.
Thank you. Tamara says thank you. Attendee. I had said it right the first time. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mess up your name, babe. Um, she says no questions. Thank you. I love me some Nikki. She's the bomb. I agree. I agree. Outstanding session. Thank you, Tamara. Okay, where can people find you? And what do
Oh,
you offer?
so if you're on Clubhouse, join me on Clubhouse at Nikki Fagan. If you are on Instagram, I am at the Brand Lion on Instagram. And on Facebook as well at the Brand Lion. And if you are curious about what we do, it's thebrandlion.com.
Y'all heard it. If you already know and love her, then I don't need to tell you more. If you don't already know and love her, go follow her, go find her. I promise you, your businesses will be better because of it. And you go live on Facebook pretty regularly,
Yes.
so
So
people
we
can
just
get
did
more.
live the last week. This Friday just passed. And so we won't do it this Friday. We do it every other Friday.
Every other Friday. Got
Yep.
it. Thank you, Nikki, for joining. Conversation was super juicy, and so glad to be with you and hear your story. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me, April.
All
I loved working with April, y'all.
right. And likewise, my dear. I love it. I love it. I love it.